I came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it. I've put so much sweat and tears in it. It's just this undescribable joy that together we ride, thrive, and conquer, and it definitely shows. Like, we roll up together. I think we might seem unstoppable on the bike.
Welcome to the Matternity Podcast, where we discuss purpose-driven business innovation. I'm Stephanie Harzer, co-founder of Matternity, and today's episode is a matter of safer spaces, with founder of female cycling collective Lisa Leitgeb. FML.CC is a call to collective female cycling in Vienna. Coming from within the cyclist community, it is a take on demolishing a mainly male-dominated culture and offering safer spaces for female riders with a little hint of female road rage. Through group rides, workshops, and an open platform, FML.CC aims to build a community rooted in shared values, experiences, and passion. FML.CC acts as a pacemaker for change in order to ride, thrive, and conquer. FML.CC originated as a diploma project at the University of Applied Arts, Vienna, where Lisa studied design and narrative media. Before founding FML.CC in 2024, Lisa already held several positions in graphic design for companies like Magic Agency, Hammer Albrecht, or Saboteur. She has a profound track record in design and visual communication. Her engagement is driven by her deep insight into disparities when it comes to sports, her experience in the design world, and her unwavering commitment to solving these issues. We'll be discussing how Lisa is finding her purpose by empowering women to take control of the roads. So, Lisa, it's truly wonderful to have you here. It feels a little unnatural and weird not to be rolling on two wheels through the streets.
Thank you for having me.
Of Vienna. But yeah, still a delight to have you here. I think your ability to create such a welcoming and warm, safe space for female cyclists, and also to speak up about certain things at such a young age, is a true inspiration, which I find very inspiring. So Lisa, I know very well you can push your limits on the bike, but what was your motivation that gave you the drive to also apply that to founding a platform, to found FML.CC?
I would say there are a lot of different components that kind of just built up and gave me this idea, and this idea was forming for, I'd say, a year or so, and it like became louder and louder in my head, and eventually I just started talking about the idea and got feedback for it. And main driving force behind it was, for one, that I feel like there wasn't, or there is, a lack of space, female flinter spaces in Vienna where you can, express yourself or be amongst others that share that passion. And that was one issue, and the stuff that existed didn't really fulfill me in that way. It wasn't inviting as such, or it didn't feel like it was the same urban mindset that I have. It didn't feel like it could push me further or also connect me with other people. And also, being pushed forward doesn't mean that you have to be better, stronger, faster. It can also be that you build connections to other people or to other women that inspire you along the way. And another big factor was definitely that the road cycling as a sport is super male dominated. There's so many, it's probably like 80% of men doing that sport, and women are on many levels underrepresented, as in the big races, if you look at them, or the general understanding of road cycling, what you imagine underneath it, is never, there's never the female idea behind it. And I just needed the space and needed other women to feel the empowerment, to feel stronger. And at the claim is also, together we ride, thrive, and conquer. And it definitely shows. Like, we roll up together, 15, 20 of us, and I think we might seem unstoppable on the bike.
That's maybe a good point to ask. What does FML.CC stand for? Like, how did you come up with that name and that platform?
So for one, FML is in the internet language my life. And the other one is that if you take out the vowels, it stands for female, so it has a double meaning. And the my life point was kind of a humoristic or cynical take on how the sport is super serious and taken a little too serious at times. And I wanted to, take out the seriousness a little bit. And also my life is also a thought that, not every ride is great. Not every gym session is super nice. Not every run is the best run you've ever done. And sometimes you could just come across your own limits, and that's where you need to step over them.
I really love that point that you define basically performance not just as at hitting the right watt numbers, but really performance can also mean like connecting with people, having something that you enjoy. I really like that take on it. When you look at the progress that you had with FML since the beginning and where you stand today, what makes you the most proud?
Oh, definitely the amount of women that have joined me the past year doing it. The amount of connections I've made, the people I've met. I mean, the two of us wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for the project, so I think that's super nice. I get so much feedback for it. Like every ride I host, there's somebody coming up to me saying, "Hey Lisa, I'm so glad you're doing this." And it's just this undescribable joy that and gratitude that I feel with it, that the feedback from the women.
Taking on these experiences that you had on the bike, like what's the most unusual or most surprising thing that happened on one of your rides?
I think probably the last ride I did last season, it was in October and it was getting dark quite early already, but I rolled up because we always start at Veletage at this bike shop in Vienna. And I came there and there were already 5 or 6 women there, and then we ended up being, I think, 17 or 18 women that ride. It was another after work ride, the last one, like I said. And I was so overwhelmed because not only do I have the responsibility for all those people that are riding behind me, and I need to make sure of their safety too, but also that all these women took the time to enjoy the last ride of the season together, to come out and roll back into the city while it's already dark. It really showed me that the whole project that I've proceeded to do last year and that I've put so much sweat and tears in it really paid off. And yeah, that is definitely priceless.
Is social impact that was always important to you? Or can you define like a special moment in your life? Take us back. Was there any moment when you thought, this is important to me and I see certain issues in society and I really want to work on that and resolve that?
Social impact was not always something that I had in mind, that really, that I thought that could become a principle that is important to me. It kind of grew with the project last year, and for me it was a lot about you have to do something to be the change and to bring the change, and we're not going to move forward in any way if you don't start this project or if you don't, I don't know, engage with other people. And I think a lot of the fulfillment in what I do comes with a community project. And it might be pretty small still, but it doesn't matter because you're going out there and you're connecting with other people. You're connecting with people you would have never met. You're trying to create a space where people or women can feel welcome. And that is the change I think is that we need, and with every step we might achieve a goal.
I think it's really powerful that you're saying like in order to change something you have to be the change. I think that's really inspiring. And I think it's also a really powerful act to have something that focuses on real world human connection and everyday adventure. You've mentioned growth, personal growth. I think that's a really good transition to asking you about what are the next exciting adventures and projects that are upcoming. Is there anything you're looking forward to?
Right now I'm on it to build a team so we can expand the amount of rides that we do every week, do more beginners rides, do more intermediate rides. And then I'm also thinking to write a survey so I can go more into what do the individual women need from me and from the collective in order to also grow. And I'm also dreaming of doing like a little training camp maybe in September. I'm from Salzburg, so it would be super nice to do a training camp there.
On home soil.
Yeah, on home soil.
Yeah. So you were talking about also growth of your team members.
Yeah.
What would you say are the biggest growth opportunities you've seen in your team over this past rides and journey?
I've hosted beginner rides, and then I've seen these women come to the faster pace rides, which made me super happy. And what I also really love about doing this is that I've seen other friendships besides the one that I've built grow. And then I see women on Strava riding together that met in the group, and I think it's super nice because the platform obviously works. Obviously, women are connecting, and that's the biggest gain.
So if people would like to connect with your group, what would be a good way to find you?
Well, I try to be presented on, to be found on Instagram, I think, where most of the information comes nowadays. And we have a Strava channel with all the rides, with all the details. And then there's a WhatsApp community where you can just ask questions, ask if anyone's down to go for a ride. And there's a few platforms that I still want to approach, like group rides, CC, and to make it as approachable as possible for everyone to join.
Also digging into the broader context of purpose, was there any specific book that you read in the past year that really inspired you, that helped on that journey?
Not specifically on that journey, but I think on the journey with myself. I think it would be Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It's a really beautiful book.
So you were saying that helped you on your own journey?
Yeah.
In which way did it help?
Dealing with mental health, and I think mental health comes with a lot of reflection and essentially comes with a lot of personal growth. And all of these things are interlinked for me, and I think if you tackle one of them, inevitably you're gonna grow in the other ones and make a progress.
I really like that you're bringing that up because I think that's also going full circle with the bike rides, right?
Definitely.
In order to be mentally in a good state, biking definitely helps in keeping you in sync. And if you can combine it with having like interesting and really beautiful conversation, I guess that all adds to what you need in order to feel good in yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Very good. So to finish off the podcast, if someone also would like to find fulfillment in what they're doing and basically chase their purpose, what advice would you give them?
Just to get out there and do it, because I think when I started this, or when I didn't start it yet, a lot of it was I felt held back with maybe, critical opinions, saying that, okay, we don't need this in Vienna or whatever. We already have female spaces. I'm still trying to find them. And then I came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it. And if it doesn't pick up, then I tried it. And knowing, you always get critical voices from people who have never done such project, which is extremely interesting. And then it did take a bit to pick up, and it took a few rides to, get the consistency in, to get women coming. And there were rides where we were 3 or 4 girls, and it just takes patience and just to get started. And I think structure and organization is definitely a key to probably most of the things in life, and that also really helped me to keep everything organized and to have a good overview of what's happening and where I want to go with this.
That's good to hear. Like in the beginning, you've already said, in order to have change, you need to be the change. And I really like this quote of winners take imperfect action. I think it's really about get going so that you're also able to change something, to deliver something, and it's always easy to judge. But I think it's very inspiring that despite facing this judgment, you just kept going, you just keep doing it, and you create such a beautiful environment for female writers in Vienna and hopefully also beyond. So please keep doing that, and thank you so much for that.
Thank you.